Hello everyone. It is Sunday night and it is time for another live stream. So let's hope this is all working. Let me reach over the top, look at the monitor and check it all looks like it's doing what it is. Howdy, Dennis. How are you? Good evening, Matt. Good evening, Mike. Good evening, Ignorance Breeds Paranoia. I hope you are safe and well. Jet Martin, yes, I have seen your question. No, other than an Insta360, I can't think of anything else that will do what Parrot have been doing for frankly years, and no one else has come up with anything close. Good evening, King of Jester, Vitafly, Robert, Lawrence Martin as well. So I hope everyone is safe and well wherever you are in the world. I'm just checking it all seems to be doing what it should be. Jackal PT, is it Jackal PT? It does look like Jackal PT. Good evening, how are you? I should just start putting the I'll start putting the chat up on my phone. It's easier to see that way. So, good evening, Craig. Good evening, Catman FPV. I hope everyone is well. I hope you've been able to fly this week. For me, I've done loads of flying this week. Absolutely tons of it amongst some horrible weather. I've managed to get a few flights in each evening just before the light goes down. And I've managed to fly 25, 30 packs this weekend as well. Not in the best of conditions, I may add, but I have been able to get some packs through. And I've been getting packs through this. The new Runcam camera. I've been flying the Polar Starlight again as well. And I've come to some different observations on that camera now that I had in my initial review. And that's mostly because of the light changes. And whilst in summer I really liked how the Polar looked, actually this looks much better. Noisier, but better. But we will talk about that, and my review of that is going up tomorrow. It's quite a big video. It's turned into a bit of a monster, if I'm honest. Far too big a video than it should be, but it is what it is, and hopefully it will share with you guys some information. I was afraid that was the answer. It's hard to believe no one else. Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. You know, Parrot are one of those companies that do innovate and they do things no one else does. And often it gets overlooked. And other companies don't even rip it off. They don't bother. It's funny to see just how good the Parrot was, the Disco. It was years ahead. It really was years ahead. So guys, tonight we're going to talk a bit about this camera and I'm going to show you a little bit of footage from it, but the main review will be coming tomorrow. We're going to talk about this, which is my Crasher build. And really, this in the second subject is FPV Recycling 1, because I have built this from entirely recycled parts that I had laying around in the workshop. And it's something I think we're probably all going to have to end up starting to do because you can't buy new bits. So we're going to talk a bit about this and where we end up, because I rebuilt this today and... I rebuilt it this week and flown it today. And there's some modern components on it, don't get me wrong. There's a modern flight controller because I had a spare one and I had a spare ESC. But it is interesting that it flies very well, considering it's a 5-6-year-old frame. And, yeah, so we'll talk a bit about that, because as time goes on, we are going to struggle to get stuff. And then there's questions and answers, as always, guys. So if you do have any questions, anything you'd like me to answer, please do let me know. As always, if you want to support the channel, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the little bell next to it as well. Also, if you want a question answered and you want to support us, we do accept super chats, but there's also a link to buy me a coffee, Patreon. I'm going to talk a bit about the Discord server as well. So, catching back up on the chat. Good evening, Ken. I hope you are well. Jackal, waiting for your 120 frames a second camera from Flywheel. Very nice. I have one coming as well, and we're going to talk about that camera because it's interesting. Peppermint Pilot, good evening, my friend. How are you? So, cameras, really, I think the first thing to talk about tonight is cameras. Gary Higgins, how are you, my friend? Because cameras is the hot topic at the moment, and that's really for twofold. Number one, we've started to see a number of cameras released. You know, we had the Polar Starlight, which is, where is it? It's over there somewhere. And now we've got this new one from Runcam. And then this week we have had supply of the DJI camera come out as well. And there's a lot to understand and talk about around that as well, and we'll take a look at it as we move through. Dennis, would the Mavic Pro camera work on the Air unit? Sadly, no. So none of the cameras off the ready-to-fly models will fit, even though the FPV drone, the Mavics, they all have the same style MIPI connector. They do not work, unfortunately. The cable works, but the cameras don't. You can use the cable if you want the cable. So really, I think the first thing to talk about, and let me get up to social media because I forgot to open this up, the dreaded Facebook. Let me just get to it. Cool, that's zoomed in. I think we're gonna have to zoom out of that a little bit. And really, the first thing to talk about is this. Oh, sorry. That's been left somewhere that I didn't realize I left it. 1 second. Let me do that. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize I'd left that quite so big. I'll make myself nice and small in the top corner. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so the first thing to talk about is this. And this is the post from Cadex that they want to thank everyone for their support. And they are saying that they have made the DJI camera available. Now, this announcement was sort of, I had a bit of a heads up on this the day before, but I didn't say anything because I wanted to see what happened, and it wasn't for me to pre-launch someone else's stuff at the end of the day. And we saw some cameras and air units become available from certain vendors, and certain vendors were saying that, oh, we've managed to get some old stock and they're going to be limited, or they didn't really say old stock, they just said we're going to get some cameras and release them. And then Cadex put up this saying that they had these to be available. Now, the wording in this is quite interesting because if you read it, what it says is this: we want to say thank you for all the support for Cadex SPB. We've been paying attention to all of the feedback and been working on the chipset of the DJI Cam and Nebula Pro for about 1 year. Finally, we can announce to everyone we are bringing back the DJI camera now. Now, if you read that and understand it, it basically says we are bringing back the DJI camera. It doesn't say they've got stock. And the information I was given on this was Cadex are now manufacturing this camera. And that's the information I've been given. When you went on the Cadex website, you could actually order it either with a Vista or with the original DJI Air unit, as I said in my video earlier in the week. But then they did have supply of the camera on its own as well, and you can order that now as well, as have other places like Pyro Drone have turned around and said it's now available too. Now, the interesting thing in this all is that if you read Cadex's statement, they have brought back this camera. They have done it, not DJI. And it's going to be interesting to see if this is the same camera we had before, or is this a different manufactured version. Now, the reason I say that is Cadex never made the DJI camera as far as we're aware. It didn't look like a DJI camera. It was a two-board design. It wasn't the same as the Nebula Pro or the Cadex Micro, because remember, the Nebula Pro and the Cadex Micro are basically identical inside, just a different casing, slight variation on the PCB, but virtually the same. So it's going to be interesting to see, is this a DJI manufactured camera, or is this a Nebula Pro in that DJI housing? Now, even if it's a Nebula Pro in the housing, that isn't a bad thing because the Nebula Pro had the same specs. So there's nothing different here. on that. But it will be interesting to see because they are very, very different units. And if I just find FPV out wiki, the wiki for FPV out has some pictures of the internals of all the cameras, which is really handy. Let me just get onto the GitHub and then I can useful images. If I put this up, I can show you. So just to make this a bit bigger, we can actually tell. So if we go to the camera section, okay, so if we look here, we have the original DJI camera, which is the front and back, and there's actually two separate boards on this. So that's that board, and then that's the back board. Then you've got the Nebula Pro, which is a single board solution. So what you had was a really small board with the sensor on, and then this larger board on the DJI, and then you had the Nebula Pro, and then you had the inside of the Caddx Micro, which again is basically identical to the Nebula Pro. If you look at the component layout, it's virtually the same. They're using the same chipset, which is the AP1302. And yeah, so it's going to be really easy to see if this is manufactured inside that DJI case or is it back like this. Now, I have my personal opinion on this. My personal opinion is this is DJI. And yes, that goes against what Caddx are saying. But my personal belief is, and it is just my belief until I get one in, is that this has probably been manufactured by DJI. And I will know this week because I have one on order and it will be here very, very shortly. It will be very, very shortly. It should be middle of next week. I did an order instantly and it arrived. Sorry, it shipped very quickly. So we're going to have to see on the cameras. Now, just catching up on the chat. Dennis, evening Ian, we're in Wales. You from? I'm from Port Talbot. Stuart D89. I am down southwest, so I am Pembrokeshire, right down the bottom end, my friend. Ordered 2, waiting on delivery. Same as me, Peppermint. Read your comments for the first. Would be interesting to watch. Yeah. Now I did. I'll put it up in a minute and I'll talk about this because I did put a bit of a write-up on where I think things are at. And I will talk about this. A bit of a U-turn on your video, DJ drop-in products. What's changed your mind so much? What's changed my mind is we're beginning to see some progress. So if we take... Look, I've been critical of DJI quite a lot in the last 12 months, specifically around the FPV system. And there's been two major issues with the system that drove me to that. Number one was the fact the goggles were bricking themselves, and two, people couldn't activate them. And then they introduced a third issue where you then, after updating, were getting the goggles reboot in flight. So we were left in a position where, look, when these issues, if we take the version 2 goggles launched in what, early January, mid-February, by about April, nothing had changed. We'd seen no improvement on activation. We'd seen no improvement on anything. You know, you had a dealer stripping the FPV drone and shipping that to users to activate their goggles, which is insanity. And the fact we heard nothing from DJI on all of this stuff just made me think they're done. They have no interest. They're not communicating. They're not talking about it. And that was it. Now, after I put the first video out, they did reach out to me directly on that. And there were some things I said in that video that they weren't particularly pleased with. However, what they then did was take on board the feedback and released the firmware to fix the issue where the goggles would end up in the wrong mode and you couldn't switch back. So that was the big issue they solved first of all. Yes, they then introduced the rebooting in flight bug as a result of that, and then I kicked off again with you guys' help, and then we got that fixed. And there was a statement from DJI, but it was very small. But I still felt at that point we were, let's just say, pissing into the wind because we weren't getting any real progress. We then had that update which was released that said added support for the new ear unit and the encryption thing, and then we made a bit of noise on that, and then we had some noise from Cadex. And look, at that point, DJI had pretty much stopped talking to me, and I was only talking to Cadex, really, on that one. And some promises have been made. You know, Cadex have taken the feedback on canvas mode, and that's been passed to DJI. My belief is that it is only DJI that can do that, not Cadex, and that has been now sent to them, and DJI are now looking at it. But what has changed for me is we've gone from nothing with DJI and just Cadex spitting out bits and pieces to having now Cadex and Runcam and new kits such as this kit from Runcam, same ear unit, but we now have multiple places to get stuff. You know, if you think when Cadex were on board, it was just only Cadex because DJI basically weren't selling, so you only had Cadex. Whereas now we've got Runcam as well. I've been talking a little bit with Runcam in the background, and they've got some nice stuff by the sounds of it in the pipeline. They haven't told me too much, but they certainly got some stuff going on. And it's all of this that leads me to think there is hope now. Whereas before it felt like we had been abandoned, whilst DJI doesn't appear to be doing stuff, I now feel that there is hope. And that's why I decided to just give you guys an update on where I'm at. And my thoughts were that there is some light around the corner. That light, you know, if Runcam stopped making cameras, then that light fades away. But Runcam appear really quite active and willing to talk and wanting to push the system forward. You know, what they've done with this camera is nice. I'll talk a bit about it in a minute. Look, the ear unit is a Vista or an ear unit Lite. It's identical in every way as far as I can tell. So there's nothing different about the ear unit. But the camera is pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And we've now got eight different cameras for this system. So it does give me some hope, and that's why I've changed my tune, because I feel that there is something around the corner that we can now, there's progress happening. Bruce is saying he likes Runcam. I have to say, to be fair to Runcam, they've been really good, really good. Talking, answering questions, just really, really good. I don't want to say too much about Cadex because they've never done anything wrong to me. However, I will openly say this, okay? When Cadex, when we had that discussion with the problems before, there was a lot of sort of talking back and forth and promises, not promises, there was no promises, but some sort of suggestions made and stuff. And a lot of that just hasn't happened. And it doesn't bother me, but what it does do is worry me. So I'm far happier now Runcam are on board. And that's basically why I've changed my tune. If that makes sense. Let me just catch up on the chat. Bruce, I'm not here. I'm not watching. Hey, Bruce, hope you're well, mate. Do I think DJI will ever build a drone controller like the one used on the Mini 2 with HDMI out? It would be great to use a goggles. It's hard to judge. The problem with DJI is, GMI, they're so fragmented. You know, look, we have a set of goggles which only works with one drone and ear units. There are 7 other drones it could be used with, yet they don't, and they no longer make goggles. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but that is DJI in a nutshell at times. Picture 1080p for me. Peppermint powder. A bit of expensive way of doing it. Good method is free one. Cadex made of cardboard. probably made of cardboard. Good method to get a free one. I've ordered one. I've paid for the camera that's coming from Cadex. My own money. And I ordered a full-size air unit and camera to replace the one I burnt out. Gonna order one ASAP, Craig. Good man. Any fixes yet on the multiple binding issues between FPV drone and air unit? No. And the information I had from DJI is that will never change. My understanding, Thomas, is that will not change. DJI were very much, that is what it is, unfortunately. Also ordered 2 cameras in stock again today, by the way. That's good news. Hi all, we have 14 various air units and not one of them is the same. What do you mean not the same? By the way, are links allowed? Yeah, put a link up. Hot cooler, no problem at all. If it doesn't thing it, I'll allow it. After flying FPV in Training Mini 2, I had to fly from screen. Look, it's funny, right? I've been flying almost exclusively acro for the last 2 months, and I cannot fly stabilized drones at all at the moment in any shape or form. I am all over the place. I'm sort of putting the stick forward, and then it's like I'm jerking all over the place. The Cadex full-size air unit has been the best. Yes, because it's made by DJI. Only bought the Mini 2 because of the price and can't fly it anywhere almost. It is a sod. I reckon sticking... I think what is clear, so GMI, I reckon they're sticking with the FPV system because of their own FPV drone hasn't sold particularly well. I have a feeling they've offloaded the FPV system now. I think it's clear that whilst they've got hope, they don't really have any interest in doing it themselves, and they've offloaded it. So I think they've moved it to the side. Pissing into the wind sounds like the man boost for some into the commander. Yeah, hello type, hope you're well. No word on DJ canvas mode. No. Okay, Pete, what I know about canvas mode is this. I gave them the contact details of an amazing human being who has sent them a load of info. My understanding is that info has been passed to DJI, and the word I had is DJI are working on it. That's all I know. Mippy is now used by Sharkbite. They are going to be using a version. That's right, GMI. They've said. Hopefully we'll see it soon. Originally, a unit with Mippy replacement works well. It's not a bad camera, the Mippy, and I've built that on my Smasher rig. I'm using the Mippy on that. It's not a bad camera at all. Ooh, I'm late. Good evening, Steve. How are you? Hey, Failsafe. Hope you're safe and well, my friend. Hope you have a note. Can the USB-C on the goggles be used for HDMI in? Unfortunately not, Dennis. No, it can't. Submate. Hello, RC Ritter. Hope you're safe. Quick question. Not sure if you've covered it already, but has there been some rumors going around? People are saying that that this is a temporary thing and they are simply using leftover stock. Okay, so the DJI camera that's become available. Nothing is confirmed. No one... Well, yeah, it is confirmed because I've been told by Cadex they're manufacturing it. Okay, so let me rephrase that. There has been nothing publicly said other than what has been put on that poster. What I was told is they are manufacturing that camera. I still think that remains to be seen if it's them or DJI. My understanding is this simple. The AP1302 chipset has become available and they can now make cameras. The thing you've got to remember is the chipsets have been in rotation. So the foundries, the company who makes the AP1302 would have had their order in the foundry for months. Their slot in the wheel has become available. A load of chipsets have been made. They've been put onto the market and companies have been able to buy them and make their products. We have seen that as that. My belief is all of these cameras are new. They're not old stock. They have been manufactured from new components that are now available. The reason they couldn't manufacture it before was a result of the silicon shortage, whether it be sensor and chipset, but we believe it's the chipset, which is the AP1302, which is needed to allow it to communicate with the goggles and have that 120 frames a second mode. I have no concerns these are old stock. My belief is it is new stock. The new one seems to have one side screw. On the picture, it shows two, but I wouldn't be shocked. Howdy, stopping by to break up the echo chamber. How are you doing, Lon Denard? Hope you're well. Oops, I bought to swap out my polars. I haven't had a chance, BB, to look at OpenHD. It's on my list to do this week. Late because I got homework. Steve Mann. New one seems to have one side screen. We need to have a look at that. We definitely need to have a look at that. Howdy, stop it. Howdy, good evening, Lon. I said that already. Sounds legit. How are you, Ian, by the way? I'm very good, mate. I am very, very good. Taiwan finally allowed to sell chips to JJ after the secret talks. Look, there's a lot to this. The thing to understand with this chipset is everything is in short supply. You know, I saw a really cool article this week from an electronics company who are making adapters for like QFN to different style SoCs, because remember, like an SoC is usually available in multiple different packages, whether it be pinned, non-pinned, QFN, or all of the other millions that are available. And often you're finding the current situation of you can get one type but not the other. And whilst their pin out is the same, it's just the connection is different. So companies are now making PCB adapters for like pinned SoCs to QFNs or QFNs to pinned SoCs, because companies are having to get whatever they can get right now. And this chip shortage is hitting everyone, including DJI. I think whilst they've always made the micro, so they've still had supply. It's just probably been very, very limited. And they were keeping that supply for ear unit sales, because if you couldn't have the camera to sell with an ear unit, that would affect overall product availability. I don't know. I just want my full play. It's just so yeah, the Cadex Micro is just a Nebula Pro in a different housing. It's identical. I just don't understand why they didn't sell the Nebula Pro with it. I can't get my head around that. Why did they recase it, retool? Why didn't they just do a Nebula Pro? Seems a strange thing to have done that. But so mine has shipped and mine is en route with FedEx right now. So let's just have a look. So if we go on Cadex, so the pictures on Cadex are showing 2 screws for this camera. They're still showing 2 on these. On Pyro Drone, there's 2. And if you've seen some with 1, let me know. When will the bipolar be out? It's going to be interesting to see what comes next. You know, I have heard that there's more 120 frames a second cameras to come. There certainly is more around the corner. That's for sure. $59. I may order another one of them myself, to be honest, just as a standalone camera. But as I said, when we read and the picture they've got here is the same. But I'm going to compare it. I'm going to get it under the microscope. And we are going to see if it's a Cadex camera or is it a DJI one. I personally, and this is entirely my belief, and that would mean I am calling Cadex liars, and I don't really mean it that way, but I personally think these are DJI manufactured. That's my personal belief. DJI have had supply, and they will just send them out to them. But we could be wrong. We will see. We should be able to see the differences. When you look at the differences between the manufacturing of these cameras, so if we go in a bit more so you guys can... Oh, that's out. There is a distinct difference between the way DJI manufacture and others. You know, the way DJI do it... let me just go here. So the way DJI do it compared to Cadex, it's very easy to tell the entire way the PCB is done. is entirely different. Obviously, Cadex put their name on it, but you can just tell. You really, this is very much DJI. Even the way they do these points here, they have dots. You often see on DJI things like these pink dots as well. I've noticed that on all the ear units too. So we should be able to see. We should get an idea of who it's made by. Look, ideally, I don't think it really matters if it's a Nebula Pro or a DJI camera. It's the same. It'll behave the same. Opinions aside, there's no, let me just catch up. So, A2S Army, Lon. That gem, please. Let's have a look. Failsafe FPV. Unit. Nebula Pro was Cosmic. May not bothered. Compared to one screw. Compared to the one screw, yes. How small do I think they could get ear units down to? The Vista can be shrunk, but it then becomes a game of usability. So there's a compromise here on size. And that compromise then becomes usability. So for instance, okay, I can leave a Vista on full power mode, sitting down without an antenna. It'll be fine. It won't burn out. I can leave it powered up while I wait for GPS to get. It might enter low power mode and say I can't, but I was going to say it can't record, but that's the main ear unit. But you can leave it. It'll enter low power mode. It's fine. The issue I've seen is if you take some of the shark bite receivers, they will cook themselves to potential damage in no time at all. So there is a fundamental point of where you start adding failure. And that is the issue we're beginning to get to now. So digital is going to be bigger than analog unless we get to the stage where someone's going to invest enough money to design a custom ASIC with everything on board, and you have a one-chip board solution. So you have a chip on a board, and that's it. Everything else is internal. The BEX, the voltage regulation, the MIPI, everything else, the RF front end, or even if you had a full chip which had all of the power, and then, because the thing to understand with digital is you've got the RF stage, which is quite complex in itself. You've then got the SoC, the NAND, the power regulation, and the power is a big part of ear units. These ear units have got to have multiple different voltages for the different parts of the issue. So for instance, on the DJI, you've got 3.3, 5, 1.6, 1.2, 0.9, and I think there's one more. I think there's another 1.2. There's two 1.2s. There's a 0.6, a 0.9. And you need all of this on the ear unit. So it all takes space. And that is the problem. So if you look at the Vista is as close to packaging all the electronics as small as it can. And then the size is in the thermal cooling. Then the rest of it is thermal. And it's going to be really hard to get away from that without then compromising it. And that's the problem. And look, you can buy naked ear units from Flywoo. Flywoo sell them. If we go to Flywoo, they sell the Vista naked. And if we put this up, they will sell you. Oh, go away. They will sell you a naked Vista. They've completely cleaned it and it's naked. But you're then heading into dodgy territory of thermals. It's been nicely cleaned. They've decased it for you. They've removed the heatsink compound, so they've put it in a ultrasonic bath. And yeah, but there is a point where you get to problems. So for instance, if we look on here, this is the DJI ear unit. Okay. So if we look at size wise on this, guys, so what you've got here, this is the main side. So we've got the 3.3 and the 5-volt regulators. Okay, these are the main BECs on the input. So these are parallel regulators. So that one's 5-volt, that one's 3.3. I have a lot of experience on these two particular regulators. You've then got your P1, which is your custom ASIC, and your NAND, which is needed for caching the image before it's transmitted. So you've then got this multi-controller here, which is another multi-voltage BEC. You've got 4 coils, so you've got 1.6, I think it's 1.6, 1.2, 0.6, and 0.9 or something like that. So you've then got 6 regulators outputs. You've got that system management IC, which is providing all the voltages for this, and then you've got these. We then, on the other side of this, got again another voltage regulator here. We've got some diodes, and then we've got all of the filtering for this, because that's what all of this here is filtering for this ASIC. Just like on the bottom of your PC motherboard, if you ever look at the back of a PC motherboard or the back of a chip, there'll be loads of them. That's mostly filtering. And then you've got the RF board, where you've got the main RF front-end transceiver. You then got your ITs, and then you've got your output. So getting this all any smaller is really, really difficult. And that's the problem. You know, if we talk about this area here, so, you know, if you wanted to try and get this smaller, you'd have to then create another SoC with maybe NAND built in, which isn't easy and gets very expensive. And then you've got to try and bring all of this on board, and then try to reduce the need for all of this. And it just gets really, really difficult. And that's the issue. So size is really going to come down to how much investment someone wants to make. BB Junkie, those inductors, no way to shrink them. No, exactly. You know, there's physics involved here, and this becomes the problem. Bring back Veriboard, Bruce says. You know, I think at the moment we're probably at the limit of size, how small we can go. And look, if you... There's been a lot of talk this week on SharkBite. So for those who haven't seen, on JB's stream, he mentioned it. There was talk about TBS. We're talking about whether they're going to make a SharkBite receiver, or someone asked him and he sort of had one in his hand, and Trappy looked at it and was sort of, okay. And he wasn't really impressed with it, because the one he had, I can't remember, did he have the Whoop board or did he have the TX5R? Or was it the 500 milliwatt? But he even said the front end was basic. So, you know, there are limits to this. You know, HD0 are already making things as basic as they can, and we're still having complaints on size. So, and again, then becomes the usability. So it gets difficult. Yeah, RF was, he wasn't impressed with the RF front end. So, you know, they're already taking... I've always said that SBRF, it isn't great, and I'm seeing some interesting results from it on a meter, and I'd be interested. There's some people saying, I'm convinced some of these ear units don't output power properly. I think it was the Whoop. I think it was. So there's always a, you know, there's a limit to how low we can go, and that's the reality. And the Vista is about as small as DJI are going to go without reinvesting in custom silicon again. So I hope that makes sense. Let's just go down. Thermodynamics 101, preaching. It's heat. It's always heat is the problem. It always is. Good evening, Gary. I hope you're safe and well. Ear unit gets so hot so fast. Why can't they just use a PP9 battery? Latest DJI version 2 allows you to switch between DJI drone mode and FPV mode, ear unit mode. Awesome. Yes, they fixed that issue, so you can now switch. Managed to get to 120 degrees according to the thermal in under 2 minutes in 25 minutes while sitting on the table. Also started at 6 watt just for heat. Yeah, it will torch itself. The SharkBite one scares me. That's why it's cased in aluminium. PP9s are out of stock. Hyperlight Fragrance plus Naked Vista Thermal Compound. You know, I'm waiting for someone. I was thinking... Shall I be the first person to do a liquid metal DJI unit video? Shall we be the first person to do it? Also, can I run my Version 2 goggles with the Vista? Originally run my Version 1s. Unfortunately, the Vista, can I use my Version 2 goggles with the Vista I had originally run in my V1 goggles just by rebinding? No firmware mismatch warnings. You might get mismatch warnings if you haven't updated the Vista, but you can still fly. Just ignore the errors. But I'll be honest, there is no reason not to update your Vista to the latest firmware. If you're having to use new goggles and old air units, other than the hassle, there's no reason not to do it. Bloody regulations, they make so many rules. I've seen some eye-watering potential prices for the new Mavic. What's the current rumor? Over 4,000. I have both a set of V1s and V2 goggles purely for DIY builds. Which would you use as your daily driver? I keep my V2s in reserve. I fly with all of my air units, my V1s. I'm extremely lucky. I have a V1 and I have a V2, so I'm just flying the V1s. Not because, well, yes, for me, because I've got it set up with a patch. My wife made me a bag to hold the goggles in. A nice little red one. A soft bag. Because I'm using the Crystal HDs, I just have the V1s set up as that. Yeah, the V2s are gathering dust beside the FPV drone. There they are. The V2s. Sharkbite are built into a price instead of spec. That's a reality, BB Junkie. You are right, mate. And we are seeing some issues as a result of that. Let's get out. I 3D print a fan mount for my analog VTX due to heat. Same year V2s, I think, for LMU to make a custom heatsink. I'd really love to see some heat sinks for HD0. And I think we need it for the GPS. Bag looks better than the Ethics ones. My wife made me 3. There's one over there for the V2s. No, sorry. That one has the Scout HDs. She made me that one for the Scout HDs. She made me 3 in total. I said to her, can you make me some bags? So they're just made of like red cloth. It's like a Santa's hat. But it's just something soft to have the goggles in. It's your Santa's hat. Genuinely, and this is a genuine story, I was using a woolly hat to keep the V1s in at one point because it's about right size. Hunter F. I still can't get my firmware to update. They will connect air units but won't update to the latest or show switch mode in goggles menu. They're stuck on 0610 0606. Do I need to pair the drone and the fly out and plug in assistant update? I still can't get my firmware to update. They will connect to air units but won't update to the latest or switch mode. The thing to understand, Hunter, is, okay, there are 2 different firmwares on the V2s. So the V2 goggles, if you have them in FPV air unit mode to use with this, they will only update to 0607. However, if you put them in FPV drone mode, they will update to version 2 point something, which contains 0606. Don't worry about 0607. The advice for the V2s is to update them in FPV drone mode, not FPV air unit mode. That way they will update properly, and that will update both sides of the system. You might not have 0607, but don't worry about that for now. And then you can do it via the Fly app. Plug it into the Fly app and it will update. Wow, that's a Kickstarter if I ever saw one. She's a keeper. Thank you, Rishi. Is your PC running? Your OSD was a bit jumpy there. Stream stalled. No, everything. It might be the internet's playing up tonight. I don't know. I am seeing it a little stuttery. Everything should be fine. I tell you what I will do. Let me just close Actually, I tell you what, I've got some stuff open. Let me just close that and see if that's any better. Switch mode isn't on. The switch mode isn't on the goggles option. So you can't switch from FPV mode to FPV drone mode. That's unusual. Have you definitely got V2s? Do I have to scratch the tab off on the Polar Vista kit box? No, you don't. No, the tab is to check if it's genuine. I'm too scared to put my FPV goggles in FPV drone mode. You can switch back if you update the firmware now. It's fine. I have tested it. Anyone else seen Squid Games? No, I haven't. What do I think of the Axis Fly FPV boxes, HD boxes? 5,000 Chrome tabs. Yeah, that's about right. I'm a bit... Okay. When I pause like this, it means I'm thinking about what I'm going to say. Let's have a look at it, shall we? Okay, my initial thought was, and this is my initial thought, was they are ripping off open source hardware, software work and trying to benefit from it. And I thought that was a load of crap. However, since then, FPV Out has said they are now working with them and it's all legit and it's supported and it's available if you want it. So that changes that initial thought of they are ripping off open source work. However, my concern is this with this product. So if I bring it up, is this, okay? Technically, and I know they can't, but technically DJI could shut the door on this at any time. I know they won't because that means the Fly app won't work, but they technically could. And my only concern is, so it's $209 with a fan. Okay, they're selling it with or without the fan. If it needs the fan, then sell it with the fan, please. In multiple environments. Okay, so it doesn't need the fan. If it doesn't need the fan, then it should be okay. It's okay. $200. If you're after an FPV Out solution, I think it's okay. I've not used it. I've not tried it. I wouldn't mind trying it, to be honest. I wouldn't mind giving it a go. Now it's all cleared up and now it's all legit and it's good. Look, there's some nice features because you can go multiple goggles, can't you, at the same time, if I'm right? Didn't I read it right that you can go multiple goggles? You can go multiple displays, that's for sure. I thought, did I read you could use multiple sets of goggles, or was I reading that wrong? I would have thought if you could do that, they'd be showing it. I'm only seeing one set of goggles, so I could be reading it wrong then. I think it's interesting. I think if you're after an out-the-box solution, then I think it's good. I think there's some value add with it as well, which means, you know, you get in a Linux-based PC, basically. Or was it Android-based? Actually, it might be Android-based. I thought there was talk of it being Linux originally, but then I think it's Android. What do they say down here? Let's just have a look. That's for the screen. I think if you're looking to get yourself out an FPV solution, it's worth a look. I can't comment on how well it works because I've not tried it myself. I didn't like how it all went down early doors. I felt it felt like they were ripping off people's work. I still think there's a lot more to this than we know. Because it just felt like, oh, suddenly we've come to a deal. I almost think it was done last minute. Personally, I would rather build myself a Raspberry Pi 4 version or 5. If you don't want to build one yourself, it's probably a good solution. You know, if I put it up again, HD box, $209, it's going to get you up and running. Can you do it for $50? Yes. You know, you could do it for $50. I would have even preferred, I think, to have seen someone do a Raspberry Pi version. Cheaper, $99 for people. Do it that way. But if you're looking for a way of getting FPV out and you don't want to build it yourself, it's about the only legitimate solution there is. And that's it. But just bear in mind that it could get disabled by DJI at any time. Chances are minuscule, but it could. What's about update considering to the hacks? What's about the update considering to the hacks? Tommy, do you mean the FPV ones? Can you explain that? You can make one cheaper, but it'd be cobbled together. You can, that's correct. Legion, the latest version I can see when trying to update the V2s is the 10.0600. Okay, so look, let's get the V2 release notes. DJI FPV. Okay, so if we go on the DJI website, downloads, V2, release notes. So the current version for the FPV goggles should be 01.02.0020 when in FPV drone mode. So you should update to 01.02.0020. However, in FPV air unit mode, it'll be 01.01.0607 off the top of my head. Michael texts in from beginning, just wanted to say good night and I love the stream a bit early. How you doing, mate? Thank you for that. Let it only halfway through watching. Is there any way to wirelessly? No wireless way at the moment. Rumours a new Pi coming out soon. Yeah, we're about that time, aren't we? So there could be even more power around the corner. I'll see, Rita. I really didn't like some of the early communications. Kind of shitty attitude from them. I think that guy was fired. Yeah, and I felt the way this device was launched wasn't good. I think it could have been done 10 times better. But look, if you're after a solution, I haven't tried it. I can't comment on how well it performs or how easy it is. I wouldn't mind having a go, but I'm not spending $200 on one. If they want to send me one, I'll tell everyone what they think about it. More than happy to do that. If it's good, I'll tell you it's good. If I think it's not good, I'll tell you it's not good. But I got no intention of buying one to do that. I think there are better ways. You know, my world would be building it, not that. Okay. Good for ride-alongs. I don't know if latency would bother me much, except the sound. I think, you know, I do wonder how many people really want it. You know, I do wonder that. I do wonder. Okay, guys. So before I jump on, and we're going to talk a little bit about this camera, and then we're going to take a look at the Crasher. And I'll talk a bit about that. So for everyone watching, hello, good evening. I hope you're safe and well. If you're new here, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Give us a like. How many likes have we had? Let's have a look. 25 likes, 70 people. Give us a like on the stream as well if you're watching. If you'd like to support the channel, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. Super chats are always welcome as well. Getting the shilling in early doors these days. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys... Look, there's been a number of reviews on this. I'm not going to dive into it. My big review is coming tomorrow on this one. Air unit is exactly the same. What I'll say on the camera is this. And I've been using it for... Let's put that back up. I've been using it for 4 days now. Image quality is sharper than the Polar from Cadex. Colors are much better than the colors on the Polar, in my opinion. It has better white balance performance as well, but it is a noisier camera, and the image is clearly noisier, especially in lower light. I don't mean dark, but I mean cloudier conditions. There is more noise in the image compared to the Polar. It is worth remembering that this has a normal half-inch size sensor, whereas the Polar has a bigger sensor, and that's why it's a little bit better. The Polar is better than this in low light, frankly, a lot better. This is good in low light, but my belief is the Polar is better. However, I really like this camera in good daylight conditions. It looks really good, and the colors are very nice, and it has better white balance performance. It does shift, but it is nowhere near as much as the Polar Starlight. So yeah, I think Runcam have done a really good job with it. Latency wise, it's on par with the others. I've done some bench testing. It's no different. But it's a good camera. And yes, it's not 120 frames a second. However, it is a good camera. So if you're interested in getting one, it's worth a look. If you're trying to decide between this and the Polar, what I would say is this: if you're flying in darker conditions, the Polar might be better. And the Polar does look really nice, right? In like light just going down. This looks nice, but the Polar looks really nice in those conditions. But the colors on the Polar look quite a bit different to this camera. And in my review tomorrow, I'm actually flying them side by side, and you can really see it, the color difference. It's quite distinctive, the difference between them. I just closed. I'll just show you very quickly. Where's the video? Let me just, oh, we don't want that. We don't want audio. I'll put this so you guys can just see this bit. Interestingly, and just to do this, so if I put this up a sec. So this was a bit of the footage from that camera inside. And inside, it looks really good in the workshop. It really, really does look good in the workshop. And then, ignore this bit. And then we did some flying. Where is it? This is just a bit of footage from it, and there's loads of footage in the video. Ignore this spot. I had a spot on the camera. Now, I think it was on the sensor. You'll see it again now, but it moved. It wasn't there on the bench, and then it was there on my first flight, and then it disappeared after that. And I don't think it was on the lens. I think it was on the sensor itself, a bit of dirt or something, but it shifted, and it's gone now. It's not there at all. But you can see that there, so please ignore that. But this is just a bit of footage just to show you it here. I take it for a bit of just a gentle fly around. Show you at low level. Now, what I do later in the video is show this. So if I just show you these two. Now, this is really interesting. This is a bit of ground footage. So look at the color difference between these two cameras. So let me just go here. So this is the Polar Starlight. Okay. And then I now switch to the Runcam and the Runcam. Look at the color difference between these two. Now, this is bang on. This is really how the color was that day. But look at the difference on those two. That's the Polar. And wait for it. Oh. And that is the Runcam. It is night and day. And I show you a little bit later in the footage. Here. Where is it? I pair them up. So it's about here. Here I pair the cameras up. It's not identical flying, but it's similar, just to show you. And same day, same time. The colors on the Runcam Phonix is much better. It's really oversaturated on the Caddx Polar. The reason I'm going up and down here is to try and trigger that white balance shift, just to see what it was like. You can see it shift there as I was doing it, just to see how it looked. This was a really grey and horrible day when I was doing this flying. This is just to try and trigger that white balance. And it is noticeable on this camera, but it's much less so. But you can see the difference between them. The Runcam is noisier. There is no question. And this is a bit of footage from tonight. It was a lovely evening here. So I went out tonight. And this is again on the Phonix HD. Ignore the sun flare. But it looks really, really nice in good light. It does. However, let me just get further through. This is it at night. Here we go. This is it at night, and basically it was too dark to fly. I tried a flight and went, no, I'm abandoning it, and I just moved around. It's just no visibility on it at all. You know, there's light here off property. This is just a front area, and I kept it low around this area here. Not low, obviously, but it's not as good as the Polar at night. It really isn't. And it was just, yeah, it's not a good night camera. But that really just gives you an idea. Let me just scroll up. From what I've seen, RC Ritter, the Runcam that's right. I may need a digital, but always fly some analog. Gamma, how are you doing? Hope you're safe and well. Thank you for all my videos, folders, and Rushy streams. Early start work tomorrow, so hopefully get to watch the remainder of it. Stay safe, my friend. Good night. I'm super excited for the Polar Nano. Yeah, that looks a really nice camera. Every bit as good as the Polar Micro. Blue, black, white, and gold. Am I white and gold myself? Oh man, lots of sun. That's incredible. Polar looks terrible. It's a massive difference when you put them side by side. And the weird thing is, I really liked how the Polar looks in bright sunshine days. But I'll be honest, I've flown the Polar on good days only. The second I've put it into this grey, murky conditions, it looks terrible. The Polar made JB's head look like a clown. Oh. Same year, I've made the Vista light as possible. Agree. Have you seen the Polar Nano footage? I have. I've seen it as well. Almost as nice as Sharkbite. Wow, the Phonix HD looks much with some sunlight. It does. It looks decent in sunlight though. It's nice. It's really nice. I'm getting the message in my V2 goggles. It says low power, unable to record. Bats are full. What is the fix? Right. Low power is because the air unit is overheating. So that's not the goggles. It's the air unit. So when the DJI air unit gets too hot, it goes into what is called low power mode. It used to be called power limit, and it drops it to about 1 watt. And that then stops it overheating, but it stops you recording. It will often happen when it's sitting on the deck with no air around it. Perfectly normal, absolutely fine. When you take off and put some air through it, it should be fine. What you just need to be careful of is that if you're leaving it too long on the deck and overheating, you're not going to be able to record straight away at takeoff. You can disable this, which is low power mode in the menu under the system settings, but it isn't advised. It is simply because your air unit is overheating on the ground. Hope that Spooner FPV. Does that make sense? So you'll usually get this when you've powered your quad up and you're waiting for GPS lock. Or if you're testing it on the bench, you're going to get that because it's overheating. Have I tried the Polar with the IR filter removed? No, I haven't. It'd be interesting to see. $120 cams. I have plenty to destroy before buying these 60 frames a second cams. Lucky boy. Does that make sense? If you're doing it on the bench, it'll do it until you arm. If you're not getting... Okay, something to clarify on this is, right, low power mode is there to when you're not armed and the ear unit overheats. So it lent a low power mode when you're not armed and the ear unit overheats. If you've got telemetry set up correctly, so when you arm the quad, it should then switch and you should get a message in red on the right-hand side of the screen saying unlocked. And that should tell you that it's communicating with your flight controller, and then it will come out of low power mode into normal mode. Basically, low power mode is there to stop the ear unit overheating, and it will exit it automatically when it detects the craft has armed from your flight controller. If you're not using a flight controller or it isn't communicating, then you either need to check why it's not communicating and make sure MSP is working, or disable low power mode. RXTX diode might be too short. You're seeing the voltage in the Gorex. Possible. Yeah, that's the first key. Are you getting voltage in the goggles? So that was just to share with you. So the foot, it is night and day. I really like this camera. I have to say it looks really good. I was very lucky to have been making good money when they were available. Lucky man. I wish I'd have bought that many. I'm building back up stock now, as long as I don't keep burning them out. Please explain NACO files to ear units and goggles. So the NACO file is the, I'm not going to use the word hack, it's the FCC unlock. If you live in America, you don't need it. If you live in Europe, if you're in 25 megabits and you only have 4 channels, then you're in CE mode. And what the NACO file will do will unlock you to FCC mode, which gives you 8 channels and 700 milliwatts like in the US. If you're in the US already and you've got 8 channels, you're fine. I do have a full video on it as well if you want to check it out. I did the original video on this hack, and I've done another one to explain it further as well, which goes into all of it and explains the whole thing in great depth. So, okay, that's that one, guys. Right, just to talk a little bit about this. Now, we're all facing a bit of a shortage of components at the moment, mostly around the fact that you can't get things. You can't get flight controllers, you can't get ESCs, and you can't easily get anything you want to build. So anyway, I've recently, and I've ended up stripping it because I need to get another bloody receiver because I'm short of a receiver. I've just built 2 brand new quads. So I've just built this, the Speedy Bee, which I really like. I love this frame. This is the DJI build with Crossfire, Hobbywing stack, and then I've just done the Sharkbite build. However, these 2 are now my testing quads, to be honest, for the channel, because I can't afford to smash them up. When I do look at like videos, or when I do make videos on cameras, I try to just keep it very straight, stable footage with a bit of movement. You know, I don't do too many flips and rolls. You know, I spent most of the afternoon pushing this thing around the field, and I broke something on it, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. Because I try to show it so it's nice, straight and level, and you can just get a gauge of how the footage looks between the 2. Now, for me, it's important I have 2 quads in place I can fly those with all the time. So I don't want to be in a position with this that I smash it up. I need it working. I need it ready to go if a new camera comes out or something like that. So I was going to build another quad, and I was talking about it on the channel. I was really tempted to buy the Nagel. Is it the Nagel or the Nasal for my flight? I still want that drone. I would really, really want that drone. If you don't know what it is, I'll go back to it now. I am pining for this drone, if I'm honest. I really am pining for this drone, but it is the wrong the Nasgull, that's it. I couldn't remember what it was called. I am pining for this, but I cannot justify $400 or whatever it was. It's like £380 right now. I would love one of these right now. So if we were going to go for it, it would be there would be the Vogue with the Vista Polar. And just nasal 5. Which one is it? I'm just looking through. I would love one. I absolutely LED version right there. Nega 5 HD with Cadex Polar. Here it is. It's that one, isn't it? I think that's the one we were looking at. LED version, bind and fly. Yeah, I would love one. However, I can't justify the money. Yeah, Hobby RC we were looking on. We Hobby. I would literally love one. But too much money this time of year. So, ready to fly RTF. Just come on. Hit by it now. Do it. I really wish I could. It's just Naze Go. Let's just search for it. There we go. So you got the Nebula Pro. Oh, is Naze Go 5 HD 4S Nebula Pro? Huh? They're shipping it with a Nebula Pro. Really? I didn't realize they were shipping that with a... Is that the right one? That's a nice... I still mostly fly 4S. I'll be honest, I've got packs. I haven't moved to 6S yet, personally. I haven't felt the need. It's like, for me to move to 6S means I got to change everything. I wouldn't mind one of them at 6S, and then I'll buy all the packs, but it just means I got to buy another 10 packs. I still fly a lot of 4S. I just do. Call me mad. Just it's the type of flying I do, you know. But I would love one of them. That isn't the one, is it? That is not. Is that price high to low? If we do it that way, is that the right one? There you go. Why is that so cheap? I thought it was 388 quid. So if we go on iFlight, so the name's called with Cadex Polar Vista HD LED. What's the versions here? So what we got here? 4S6 LED version analog. Vista Polar Vista. So that's Polar. That's not the Evoque. No, it isn't, is it? That's... So the nasal Evoque 4S. Yeah, no, there you go. It's that one. That's it. It's that one, isn't it? Yes, here we go. Sorry, I couldn't find it. So we wanted it squashed X. I want Crossfire. Oh, you can't even have it with Crossfire, so I'll have no receiver. And I'd have to modify. Yeah, well, okay, we'll change that then. Pre-installed GPS, 4S, 459, 6S, 450. I would love that. But anyway, you lot getting me off track. Damn you. 6S is so much more fun. Yeah, I just got to replace all that. To be honest, if I bought that, I'd buy it at 6S and buy a load of packs. I've got a couple of packs, but not enough to fly with. 6S is so much more fun. Do an X-Jet. Wrong one, that's not the Evoque. No ET in sight. Quad parts the least of my worries at the moment. I have tons of those. I need my truck. It's crazy. This is the problem. 5S rig. Interesting. Okay. Owen. Let me just have a look. Do one extra. That's okay, Owen. That isn't very nice, my friend. Look, if you want to go and have an argument with someone, fair enough. But please don't do it in my stream. It's not very friendly and nice. I tend to make love, not war. Is the world I tend to. I can understand people. Look, people aren't always going to like people, but don't come into the stream stuff. Bruce has done a hell of a lot to help and support the hobby. You can argue and question some of the methods, but what Bruce has done is promote it in a way that no other person has done for the good. And look, Bruce has a way of making things happen through doing things a certain way. You can love or hate that, but that's just the reality of how it is. So yeah, I think we'll please leave it there. So anyway, we'll get this back on track. So whilst I can't afford to spend 400 quid for the Evo, would love it. I would love to do it, but I can't. So what I've decided to do is I built myself a bit of a crasher. So I was going to price up some bits, and I was like, oh, I'm spending another 300 quid if I do that. So I had a dig around the workshop, and I found basically a ton of stuff left over. So I decided to build something off that. And you know what? I'll say this. I am shocked how well it flies, because we'll take a look. Right. So what we have here is, yeah, I think I'm just going to do that a bit. Okay, so let me zoom out a tad. So this frame is a frame. We need to go full side. This frame is one I've had for about 4 or 5 years, and it's made by Thug FPV. Now this, I'll hide that, but if those who've seen Thug FPV was the name of the company, and they made some pretty big frames, some really quite beefy frames. And just to give you an idea, of the plate sizes. Where is it? The plate thickness is the arms. Let me 4mm arms. Yeah, 4mm on the arms. It's a very small stacked frame, so it took a lot of jamming. Now, I've had to do a bit of custom work on this to get it to fit. So for instance, we've managed to get in a flight stack with that is the H746 or 742 ESC. Sorry, H742 flight controller. I had that laying round. It's an older ESC from Acorn. I've managed to cram a Vista in the back. I had to get a 3D printed mount. I made a 3D printed mount to hold it in. And I've managed to cram a Vista in. If you look, there is not enough space between the flight controller and the frame to actually get a strap around. So I've had to make a custom piece, which I'll talk about in a minute. We've then got the Vista buried in at the back. I've lost the standoffs, so I've ended up 3D printing some standoffs, and I've 3D printed some bits to go around the sides. I'm running it with Crossfire. Now, sorry, Tracer. I'm using some motors that I've had on the bench for donkey's years. These are DYS. These are old, by the way. Okay. These are DYS Race Edition. Look, it's got a bit of rust on it. That's how old these motors are. 2205s, 2300 kVs. That rust's out of balance. I need to get that rust off. There we go. That one there. Focus. There you go. I had these on the bench for donkey's years. And I ended up having to custom 3D print a piece for the top to allow me to put the strap through, because there's not enough space here to get the strap in above the flight controller. It is literally stacked. Good night, Spooner. Stay safe, my friend. It is so tight, there's no space. So I either need to get taller spacers, or I did this. So I 3D printed up a top plate. So I made this top plate earlier on. Let me just find the file. I need to adjust it. So that, let me take the tape off. Loving the JB style insulation tape. Could have gone for red though. It's on the cover to give a bit more grip. I'm going to print this out of TPU next time. But look, I've already come up with a failure on the design because I've broke it. This is printed out of PETG. So what I did was print a top piece to go on top of the frame. Focus, Sony. To allow me to get the battery strap through, because I had nowhere to put the battery strap through. I didn't want to come all the way around here because I'm going to affect the motor mount. So I ended up going through there, but I've actually broke it, look. In the crashes today, I've ended up cracking it. So, and it's cracked that side, and it's cracked that side as well. So that design has not worked. I need to either, I think I might just print it at a TPU. Or my other thought is use a longer strap and print a piece to go on the bottom to spread out at a TPU and put the strap all the way around, and that way it would protect the flight controller as well. I do have a longer one here. Where is it? 2 seconds. Here we go. Let me just grab a battery. Oh, I got a battery. So the other thought was, let's just zoom this out a little bit, which was rather than use my custom 3D printed piece on the top, I had to put tape on it because it was too slippery. I might just print it out of TPU. I could go all the way around. Oh, flip that over and use the longer strap. I got a diatone strap here. What's the length like? I don't know what that length is like. That could come off. Oh, it will go. Oh, hello. And do it that way. But I do need to put some protection there around the motor wires. It would offer some protection for the side of the flight controller as well, actually. So that's not a bad option, because I can't go between that plate. There's just not enough space. I could do with it being further back as well. The problem is it's a bit forward on the battery. So that's something I need to look at too. But yeah, so I've built this. It's basically been built from recycled parts in the workshop, and it flies really well. It's an old frame, so let me just bring this back up and I get myself back up. I haven't seen the chat for a second. If it's a bash, you use a long strap and pull her all around. That's funny enough. That's what I was. All my quads are bottom mount batteries just to catch the landings. Bottom battery mount. I've never really flown FPV quad with a bottom battery mount. So what are you guys thinking? Go below. I can go below. Polycarbon, carbon fiber wood. Digital red rod. 2 straps. Yeah, well, the problem is I've not got enough space. Bottom battery mount. Night Spooner. Industry has seen it happen. Send me the file or top PC and I'll cut it out of polycarbon for you. That's cool, Steve. I can print it out of TPU. See, TPU will hold and it'll grip as well. So TPU won't. If it's a bash, I use a long strap. What's your opinion on the Funfire batteries? They're okay. They're not great. They're not terrible. I've not had too many problems with these. They are much better than the other ones I've had that go on fire. Wouldn't recommend it. Sticky battery pad. Nail gun. Thanks, Bruce. What do you mean battery below? Wouldn't recommend it, failsafe. So I might print it out of TPU. Let me just open the file. File open, browse. There it is. So this is the top cover that I made and 3D printed. Obviously, I had to make it all the way along because it needed to be for to get the battery on a level plane. But obviously it started tearing here and here, and I didn't think it would because of the laydown pattern. I did check the laydown pattern in Prusa when I printed it, and I thought there'd be enough strength there, if I'm honest. So if I just do that and go battery holder, and if we flip it 180, and if we just have a look, so if I show you the laydown pattern on it, slice it. When we looked, it is one piece here. So I thought we'd be okay. I thought there'd be enough strength in that. But clearly there isn't. And it's thinging. So I'll either do one of two things. I'm either going to reprint this, make it... I can take like 0.5 mil off this height and then add another mil on this height on the top. And then maybe do it at a TPU. TPU should hold a lot better. Or I go for a strap all the way around. And I am really tempted on a strap all the way around, actually. The nice thing with a strap all the way around is it helps protect the flight controller. That's the nice thing. If I did go all the way around, and if I made, like, it only has to be a sort of a tray to come out beyond the wiring just to then curl up, and then the strap could go all the way around. But yeah, I managed to kill that today in the few crashes it had. I also need to solve the problem when I have any more up angle on this damn camera. I can see the standoffs. You can see this camera's such a short lens on this bloody Mippy. It needs to come forward more. I don't want to stick the Mippy out front because I'm going to bloody really break it. I didn't really want to do that. I wanted the Mippy a bit protected. However, where it is, it's I can see the standoffs. But yeah, so you know, this build is going to cost me the price of a receiver, because that's the only thing I didn't have spare. And really, I could have used the DJI remote if I wanted to, but I want to use the thing. So it just shows you can build a good quad from bits you've got laying round. For those who... that frame, so for the guys who want to know about the frame, they were called Thug FPV. They're no longer in business. He used to do a frame called the Pig as well. And he was around back then. His website's down now. There's hardly any images, neither of them. There really isn't. The gentleman, I believe, is still around. So they had this frame here, which was another one. Thug 280. Which is this. So they had this frame here. Open it in a new tab. So there was this frame they had, which is a bit more complex. But he made some real bashers, some real bashing frames. So if we go Thug FPV, this is the gentleman here, and he made some... His website's down. It's a real shame. It really is a real shame. Put a little speed bump on the top with the battery. That'll help keep it in place without shifting. Yeah, I could do. Media. Has he shared any pictures? Has he shared any pictures? Thug Frames Sub-Zero build. Has he got any pictures of his old frames? This, you know, this is how far back. We're talking 2016. Team Woolly Sheep. Yeah. Has he got any pictures? You know, he was around a long time ago, this guy. Here we go. So they had various different frames. So you can see, here we go. So we had this. Bearing in mind, this is February the 4th, 2016, guys. That's when I bought this frame. So that was one. Flying Ninja Star. He had these two. He built some really beefy frames. I remember I almost bought that. Look at the stack on them. Remember when you had those stacks, the 3 and 4 board stacks? Proto 2, Prototype. Yeah, look at that. Remember when you had those stacks? It was individual ESCs, wasn't it? That is the Flame Wheel days, yeah. Look how thick those arms are. I bought this back then. Here's another one he did. Look at that. See, look everything covered back then. Everything covered for protection, look. Thug props. This was, you know, I should have a picture somewhere when I built this one the first time. That's another one. He said there was some cool stuff back then. There really was. Some really early frames. That was his logo. Look at that. Vibration isolate, shim or not to shim. Just trying to find if he's got a picture of my frame on there or not. 2015. So yeah, you know, they've been around a long. They were doing some cool stuff. It's a shame he's not in business anymore. It is a shame he's not in business. I can't remember what frame this was. I can't remember what it was called. Thug FPV. There should be a frame of my build somewhere. Oh, X frames. There was this one. He did. When was this? 2016. So that was the pig. I remember the pig. Individual ESCs. Where we got it? Is there a picture of it finished? No. Looks like the newer Vogue. Thug Whoop. UK Drone Show in 2015. We were talking. Yeah, I remember. There's probably a post on me on RC Groups on this somewhere. There's bound to be, because I put some up when they were released. I'm just trying to see if my image is anywhere when I built this the first time. No, I can't see it. I will have an image somewhere of when I built it for the first time. I really dig the middle finger logo. Yeah, it was. I'm just trying to see if I go to my drive. I had. I'm just trying to find some files I had. I downloaded a long time ago. It was Photo Bucket. I had a Photo Bucket account where I used to keep all my images on. I think it's gone now. I used to use Photo Bucket for all my online photo storage, but I don't even know if... No, I can't even go into my Photo Bucket account now because they've thing. But I did download all of the images from Photo Bucket, but I just don't know what I've done with them. Images, no. What have I done? Media files, image files, drone media. Where did I... I'm trying to just see. I did download loads of them and I had them all on, but I don't know where they've gone, if I'm honest. FPV drone. No, it's not that one. No, God knows. I'll have to dig them out because I was trying to find the original build I did of this. It'll be there somewhere. Are there any vertical arm frames left? I don't think there are many. I don't think there are many at all. So, really, so that's the historic build, you know, and it's, you know what? It's really good to get some stuff out every now and again. Have I retested the Scout after the antenna repair? No, I haven't flown the Fat Shark since the antenna repair. I haven't actually had a chance. I've been flying the DJI. I will do it again. I need to order another receiver because I've stolen the receiver from the Fat Shark build for this because I wanted to fly this weekend. So unfortunately, the Fat Shark build is in bits. I nicked the receiver. I have got a spare Crossfire over there for the wing, but I want that for the wing and I've already pre-soldered that up. So one of the things I'm going to do tonight is order. In fact, right, we need to order a Hobby. Has Hobby RC got any Crossfire receivers? TXR. I nearly ordered Express LRS, but even that was out of stock. Radio receivers. I might go back to Tracer on the Sharkbite. I don't need Crossfire on the Sharkbite. It doesn't have enough range. Although I should put Crossfire on it, so when the 1 watt comes, I can actually test that. So we should, shouldn't we? Let's have a look. TBS, where are you? Where are you? Crossfire Nano Diversity. Go Ghost. Would be interesting to seeing the different... Would be interested in seeing different flying same location. What do you mean between Crossfire and Tracer? All Sharkbite needs is an SPI. Just go Express RS. Well, I'm invested in Sharkbite. Sorry, I'm invested in TBS at the moment. Crossfire Nano Diversity or Nano Single? What do you think? I don't... I've got the single on mine. It's only got the Immortal T, so I'll go for the Nano Single, I think. We don't need the Nano Diversity. What do I think about Axis Flying? Is that the box? Out of stock! Out of stock again. See, look, you can't buy anything. Let me just try one other place. www. What are they called? Name me some of the people in the UK, guys. Not unmanned, because unstock aerial tech won't have in it. I should check unmanned, shouldn't I? And what's the other one? www. Regular Nano. What are they called? Drone Authority. droneauthority.co.uk. Flying Tech. Oh, Flying. Do you know, I always forget about Flying Tech. Quadcopters. Oh, I haven't used quadcopters for years, Steve. Jesus. Let's have a look. But I'm going to be ordering just a bloody receiver, unfortunately. I haven't used quadcopters for a very, very long time. I think the last thing I bought from quadcopters.co.uk was a King Guard shop. Yes, I did. My only concern is I was looking at where I would have been, so it still should have been on the patch. I don't think the Omni should have made a single difference, because the way HD0 works, let me come to this before I do this. So the way Carl has described to me the way it works is it takes signal to noise ratio off each antenna input and mixes the two. Now, because the other antenna wasn't behaving, it should have then just pushed all of the SNR to the patch, basically, more than the signal. And I was looking through. I'm not expecting one Omni to be down to have any great effect at all when I was looking straight at it, because I should have been on the patch. So, where I think it may make the difference is where I was seeing some issues with the signal behind me and stuff like that, obviously, because that's where the Omni kicks in. But then again, the other antenna should have made up for it, because HD0 has 4 antennas. I'm not expecting a great difference, especially on the penetration. The penetration, single nano is fine, to the moon with ease. I still think the penetration issues with HD0 are just the nature of the system. Because I have seen similar on the module as well, but I do want to get it back out. I just need to get this receiver. So we haven't got it there. Let's go to cross. Get speed diversity. Got a speed diversity if you want to text me, Peppermint. I probably can't put diversity on this anyway because it's too. I'm not going to get the 2 antennas on. Right. Let's. Should we have bets? Unmanned, unstocked aerial tech. Do we think unstocked aerial tech will have a crossfire module in stock? What do you think, guys? Radio receivers. I've not heard a King Quad, so let's have a look. Shall we? Unstocked aerial tech. Oh, they got a tracer. Have they got tracer in stock? No, back order the tracer. Back order the tracer. Right, let's just try now for the crossfire. Unstock. Yeah, Hobby RC's out. I've tried Hobby RC. Unstocked aerial tech. Let's have a look. Where are they? Crossfire diversity nano. I don't want the diversity. I don't want the diversity. Oh, they got the diversity nano in stock, mind. Oh, let me just search for crossfire. Be quicker. Let's have a look. Diversity nano. I don't want the diversity nano. I just want the nano. Crossfire Nano RX SE 2nd edition. Out of stock. Hobby King. Right, so unstocked aerial tech doesn't have them, but they do have... No, they don't. Okay, let's try Drone Authority. Let's try... It gets to something where you can't even get a bloody receiver. It's ridiculous. TBS Crossfire Nano RX. Sold out. You cannot buy anything at the moment. It's bloody ridiculous. Right, who else did we have? Your FPV... Are they UK based, are they? Let's try them. And did someone say King Quad? King Quad shop. Never heard of that one. Let's try that one. KingQuad.shop. Are they UK based then, KingQuad.shop? Never heard of them. That's a new one on me. Same power with analogs. Some outperforms, some it doesn't. I'm convinced... I can go Tracer again because I've been flying Tracer. I wouldn't mind putting Crossfire on it because when the 1 watt comes, I can really push the range. Although, let's be realistic, Tracer can do the same anyway. So, I could get the diversity... Just use an XM plus. Oh, cool. I could get the diversity and put the diversity on the wing and then use the that's the solution. Tracer has enough range to get you to the scene of failsafe. Yeah, that's the reality. I will say Tracer is so much more convenient for setting up. What I did notice when I was flying Tracer, building the Tracer build, as nice as Crossfire is, that is a pain in the ass. Let's not get away from that. It is a complete pain in the ass to mount. Whereas on this, you know, Crossfire, I've strapped one underneath here, a Tracer, sorry. So I've got one on the bottom of the arm down here, and I've strapped one there, look. It's passing the prop vertically, and it's absolutely fine. It just works. It just works. I will say there is a lot of benefit to Tracer. Haven't seen these guys before. This is a new one on me. Radio receivers. Crossfire Nano RX, Team Black Sheep Crossfire Diversity Nano. So they got the diversity. Did you say they got Tracer RX? Because they've only got 2. King Cod, a very good service. So they got the... Did someone say that someone had Tracer? Who had your FPV? Oh, I've definitely seen your FPV before. So if we go FPV equipment... I don't use TO, I just stripped coax. Flying Tech. Oh, hello, Flying Ear. Wait till you crash the Tracer antenna. Oh, is that the... Well, I have crashed that 3 times today. Although I will add, I did notice, and I'll show you this now. Let me just come in. And this isn't from the crash, but it has started to expose the shielding here. And that's simply from mounting, because this antenna had not been crashed on the other quad. It had been mounted and unmounted. And you can see it there. It started to expose right there. I'm assuming that's the same place, and that is crap, because that is not from crashing. I promise you that. That was there when I mounted this onto this quad, and it had only been mounted on the other one. So that isn't very good, to say the least. That isn't very good at all. Okay, guys, so we're coming up for 2 hours. If you've got any questions, please do put them in the chat. I'm now at the pet stage of doing some online shopping. I might, to be honest, I'm going to order a Tracer and a Crossfire. So, let's have a look. Crossfire. If anyone find me someone with both, I'll be a happy man. They don't last. Interesting. So, yeah, that is interesting. And that's from mounting. That, honestly, that is simply from mounting. Because that other quad had not been crashed in any shape or form. It was a brand new build. But then you get UFL issues. Yeah, there you go. Micro receiver antenna. Could use the coax antennas on Crossfire. Yeah, perhaps I go for Crossfire and do that. Right. Nano RX SE. In stock. 30 quid though. They weren't 30 quid everywhere else, were they? 24 quid anywhere else. Your FPV has both. Do they? Okay. So, if we go... FPV equipment, video transmitters, no, drone parts, where's receivers then? Tracer, Let's just see on your FPV. Tracer Nano RX 2490. Oh, yes, in stock. We'll have one of them. £30 supply and demand, mate. Jimmy, I wonder why I'd not seen it in a while. What's that? The shark bite one. I've only just nicked the receiver off it today. Unless you're talking to someone else, GMI. It's only today. I've been with all of the DJI cameras. $10 Express LRS. Yeah, but that's another module. And have they got Express LRS in stock? First of all, have they got Express LRS in stock? Right, where is it? Crossfire. Receiver. Right, what we got? TBS Crossfire Nano RX. There we go. Whee! With the Immortal T. Add to basket. And do they have the diversity one? Because if they have, I might buy that as well. I wish I'd have bought my Mambo with the 3 receivers. I should have done it. Because that is a really good deal. That there I screwed up on. Because if you look, right, if you search for the Mambo, right, let me just go Mambo. I messed up here. Stuck in your props. I just keep wrapping them back up. Ugly, but still functional. Was chatting to the lone wolf. Sorry, mate. Yeah, look, see, I really did mess up here. So, £164. Oh, no, it's the ethics. Where is it? 124 quid. But for 184, I could have had 3 receivers. I should have done that. I'll be honest. I should have done that. I should have done that. So, do they have the Crossfire? Do they have the diversity one? If they do, I'll pick one up as well because it'll do me no harm. Because I might stick it on the wing build. It would be handy on the wing. No. See, you can't get everything everywhere these days. Okay, I'm not going to worry. Okay. What have they got in stock that's Express LRS? Let's have a look. Happy Model TXRX bundle. In stock. I know. Don't even go there, GMI. Don't even go there. Lithium batteries to cheer itself up. I really like the Mambo. What do you think? You lot want me to try this, don't you? I love the fact it comes as a kit. I got the Horizon A10 Watchdog Aggressive cod sit on the bench now. I don't like the Mambo. It looks miserable. That's funny. Oh, God. Where was I? No. There we go. You're going to do it sooner or later. That kit, 58 quid. I can get the 32 quid for... Not flown it yet. In the EP 32 overkill. Yeah, what receiver is that? That is the... So that's the single UFL. So that kit is that one, which is 58, or we can get the Happy Model 2.4 Express LRS module, and so what's that? 32, 42. Oh, look, you can get a nano receiver. So 32 quid for that kit. So wait there, what's the difference between this two and these two then? Wait a minute. So this is interesting. So what do we got here? We got... So in this kit, the Happy Model enclosure for the TX is a bit crappy. But I could print one, couldn't I? So the latest variation of the Express... Oh, this is the 9,000 meg? 9,000 megahertz! Oh my god! Oh my god! No, I think we all know that's wrong. So that's the 900 kit, is it not? That's the Mork receiver. So this is the 900 one. So the problem is, okay, so would you go, if you're going Express LRS, would you go 2.4 or 900? Alex, Express LRS for the win. No, don't do it. Stick with Crossfire. I keep getting people tell me I've got to try this, so I'm tempted to jump in now. So we got the 900. 9 gig is the next big thing. Bruce, it comes with a free satellite dish. I would go, let me see, Ghost. 2.4. I'm tempted to go for the 2.4, and I tell you why. Because I'm not really interested in how much better Express LRS is compared to Crossfire. I think Crossfire is great. I think we know Crossfire is great. Is it cheaper? Yes. It's substantially cheaper. But I don't think there's much question of Express LRS bringing huge benefits over Crossfire. However, I think it gets interesting when you start talking about Express LRS and Tracer. And I think that's where it gets really interesting. I think that's where the smart, interesting. Yeah, well, I fly a lot alone, but for me, the antenna size is an issue as well. You know what I mean? I don't want to be bulking big antennas on. So if I go for it, I think I don't, you know, if you think about it, you know, Crossfire is renowned. Express LRS, Ghost. We all know these long-range systems work well. There's not a lot of debate over how well they work versus the other. The real benefit to Express LRS at 900 or 800 megs versus Crossfire is money, you know. And if we look at that element, you know, you're talking £58 compared to a module on Crossfire was, what was my module? You know, if we just go to here, transmitters, TX modules, just to price it a minute. Crossfire module was £64 on its own, and then you got the receiver. So you are talking, you know, 64, 74, 80. Look, okay, so Crossfire module and one receiver is £90. Okay. Roughly 64 plus the receiver 21 when it's in stock, so 64, 74, 84, 80, 85 to 90, okay, compared to, what was it, £58 for the 900 Express LRS. So there's money saving to be had. £30, you get it. We understand that. But I think there's a far more interesting conversation to be had around Express LRS 2.4 versus Express LRS 2.4 versus Tracer, and this whole noise around LoRa and all of that stuff as well. So if I went for it, I think we would go that route. Nano receiver. EP. We don't want the PPRX. If I do it, it will be the EP1. EP2. I don't really think I'd do EP2. Ah, out of stock. Really? Oh, really? You are kidding me. That one's in stock. What's the difference between the PP and the EP2? Just so anyone knows, I haven't seen. 3 new receivers, PP, EP1, EP2. The PP is designed by expert development team with hardware architecture. The chip is a built-in ceramic antenna. The basis we developed the nonene. Frustrating. So we can get it. EP2 is good. I haven't got anywhere for the EP2 to go on that frame. That's the problem. I do need an external antenna. It's not going to want to... it's not going to want to go... PP has no Wi-Fi. EB2 has a different micro. Yeah. But that's in stock. What's this like then? Anyone know? Anyone used it? I love my Tango, but I tried Jumper. Hands, EB2, different chipsets used. Don't get PP. So, receivers, what we got? What's the options? That's a new brand. Yeah, not seen that one before. So we got this one, but it doesn't come with an antenna. See, this is cool, and I do like this. This is where Express LRS is going to get really cool. This is where it's going to be interesting, is when you start seeing things like flight controllers with the RX built in. That is the real where you were going to get things evolve and more interesting behavior. And I'm shocked TBS haven't done this themselves. I really am shocked TBS haven't done this. You know. Yeah, that's a 3-in-1. That is a complete 3-in-1. Okay, so receivers, relevance. If we go price low to high, see if they got any happy model. Let's see if they got any other ones. So what we got? We got the transmitter. No, it's an RX with a flight controller built in. Anyone know what the Flywoo one's like? Anyone tried the Flywoo one? So we haven't got the happy model. The happy model I want, which is the EP1, out of stock. So we can't go with that one. What about the Flywoo? Any comments on the Flywoo? Is it even in stock? Julius EP. Way, we got the EP. TBS 69, yes, analog. So, Flywoo, anyone got any complaints with the Flywoo before I go with it? TBS must be losing. 100% agree. They must be losing money. 16 quid 50 a receiver. I like the cost. I like the cost of that. But you're going to make me now put another bloody module in my radio. I'm really tempted. Flywoo and just a slightly worse might understand and use the DIY target. Interesting. Okay. AliExpress GMI. What do you reckon? Order both from AliExpress. Is that what you're thinking? AliExpress. Hope you love the performance of what you're buying. Looks a bit stiff and short. Both work fine. All I've tried is the Beta FPV and the EP2. Let's just... have you seen... E-Express LRS. Happy model. Let's try for the happy model. I think I'd prefer the happy model. Do it. Sunday's buying night. Happy model. Anyone got a link to it? Happy Model Express LRS. Xjet knows the short stuff. Right, let's have a look. So, let's just try something. Flying Tech. The Flying Tech to Express LRS. EP1. Good point. There we go. So, what we got? Anyone got a store they use regularly? I bought the BWP Trust, but they were just trash. Yeah, I've been sent some stuff on Beta FPV, and I have had some problems. Does anyone know a store there that they've used on Express LRS? Is there anyone you've used specifically? Let me just try something, check something a minute. Radio receivers. EP1, look at that. £10.35 out of stock. Wow. Wow. Do they just happen Flying Tech do Express LRS? I don't know if they do. Let's just check something. Who am I thinking of? Drone Authority. Now, I was looking on Drone Authority. These guys did have them in stock. But this is the problem at the moment. Getting anything is just a freaking nightmare. Just a freaking nightmare. Well, guys, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. I can get the... Well, I can get the Namno, can't I? Let's just have a look. See if anyone's showing stock. No, my luck. Unmanned will have it, look. Ah, look, see? Unmanned. So Unmanned have got that in stock. RC Ritter, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Good chat, you. All something Bruce knows. Unmanned have got it. I bet they haven't got the transmitter. Am I going to have to do 2 orders from 2 different places? So, drone parts, behave, RC transmitters, Nonene is fine. I don't want the slim. We want the full size, don't we, module? So, hobby model, express. So, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Can we get it all in one place? BB Junkie. The Ali link above is a TX and 3RX kit. Ooh, where's the link? Let's have a look. BB Junkie. Get what you can get if you can get it. Did you post the link, BB Junkie? It's not bloody showing. Why doesn't it not let people post links? YouTube chat. Right, let's just have a look. Happy Model Express, LRS. Well, I can get them both from Unmanned Aerial Tech. Bruce likes a little tip, I believe. Here's the eBay link for the Happy model. Oh, let's have a look. Oh, we got that one as well. Look at that. I got a massive order sitting in Hobby RC as it is. Okay. So, if we look at this, that one doesn't come with an antenna though, does it? Who the heck is nonene? I've never heard of them. No. So, okay. So, in the basket, what we got already is we've got them. And then ELRS. No, so they don't really do much. Let's just wait a second. So in the basket with these. I may as well just order the receiver from them. Yeah, I've never heard of these guys. Does it come with an antenna? Oh, with an external T. Yeah, it does. We go with that, shall we? So which one is this? Because we're there. So which... Yeah, that's the standard one, isn't it? 2.4. Too expensive. 18 quid. Yeah. But I am just wondering, Unmanned have the receivers for $9.95. But even if I just order the receiver with Unmanned and postage, luck, I'm £12.47. You have a... So it's still cheaper to go... I could order the receiver from them and then get rid of that. Get rid of that. Oh, wait a minute. 32 quid. 1 second. How much was the Express LRS? Oh, 27 quid. So the difference is one's coming with the case and one's not, I'm assuming. Oh, is that... So what's your thoughts? Do you go with this kit? That kit is £27, and on nonene and on these, wait a minute, what's going on here? And it's 32 quid, look. So it's cheaper on unmanned. So it's 32 with them. And it's 27 on unmanned. That's just a backplate, I assume, isn't it? So it'd be cheaper to go unmanned for both. Yeah, 37 quid, look. No. What's the no, Jason? GMI, not Jason. So, unmanned, 37 quid for both. And then with these, we don't need that. View baskets. Yes, I'm having to pay postage twice. I'd like to see first class, though. It's £2.73. It's not worth messing around, is it? Here's one in my cart. So, I think that's the way forward. So, let me come off that, because... Yeah, for unmanned out of stock. Yay for unmanned out of stock. So, I need them, whatever happens. So, I need to proceed to checkout. We're going to do a PayPal for that one. Can I not register and just jump to PayPal, please? Please, please. Oh, why? Luckily, my computer fills it all in for me. I've agreed to conditions. I don't want to create an account. That's all fine. Click yes. I don't think Jason is a fan. Okay, so we need to password madstech1234. Got to go stream. Thank you, BB Junkie. I will be finishing up now, guys, as well. So, I'm going to get these orders in before I end the stream. Okay, so we have ordered the receivers, and now we need to order from Unmanned Aerial Tech. Buy with Google Pay. I don't want to buy with Google Pay. Oh, you're not going to make me type it out, Unmanned, are you? Really? Really, Unmanned? You're going to make me type my name and address in? Wow. Okay. Pay with PayPal, please. Thank you. I love doing PayPal because it just button job done. And I do have a bit of money in PayPal. So, continue. Because some of the affiliate income came in from this chair. so already have an account. Oh, yeah. Oh, why are you doing this to me? Why? Why is it making me put... Why is it making me put my address in? Royal Mail, £3.50. That'll do. That'll be fine. PayPal checkout, same as that. Complete order. I might have an account. I can't remember. I've ordered from Unmanned before, but I'm... By the way, in Germany, we connect PayPal directly to our bank accounts. Yeah, we got that here. Okay, so thank you. My order's been received. So we have Express LRS coming. Influencing people everywhere. Also to spend money. Quick. Time for me to blow off now. Good evening, Steve. Yes, we're coming to the end of the stream. So, cool. So, we have Express LRS coming. So, I'm going to have to put that on the Shark Bite build. Good evening, George. Good evening. So, yeah, we're coming up to 2.5 hours, guys. Let me just get it up. How many of you lovely people are still here? Let me just find the browser window. That one there. Oh my God, 58 of you. Welcome to the the Express LRS Club. Yes, I've been putting it off for this long, but we're going to do it. Okay, guys, that's it from me on this one. The video for the Runcam will be going up tomorrow. I got some videos I want to talk a bit about, and there's going to be some changes coming on the channel as well. I need to start doing things better, that's for sure. So I want to be doing that. Nothing around the live streams, just I need to start making the content shorter and better. Don't know how I'm going to do that, but we need to figure it out. But anyway, please stay safe. Thank you all for spending some time with me on Sunday night. I hope it's been interesting. I'm going to have some fun with the Express LRS kit. If you're not a subscriber and you're still here, please do consider hitting the button. Thank you for all the likes, the supports, and everything like that. Audio strip rate is 0. That's weird. Why is that gone to 0? We recommend using an audio stream of 128k. Cheers for that, YouTube. Anyway, it's time to go. If you want to support the channel, there are links in the description. Thank you very much. Stay safe, and I will speak to you guys. I've had a video process for 2.5 hours. Wow, Bruce. You need a new card. Look after yourself, guys. I'll speak to you soon.